Okay, good morning, everyone. So let's start our session. So yesterday we have talked about the Android activity lifecycle, and in that particular thing, we have discussed about each and every method in a detail, right? So what is the purpose of each and every method? So that we have already discussed in our last session, right? So today we are going to see a practical approach, how you can see how these particular things are working, so that we are going to see in today's session practically, right? So here you can see that I have created one application, right? And whenever we are going to run this application, so each and every method is going to call. So don't worry about this code, it is very easy, right? So I will explain each and everything in a detail. So first of all, you have to create a new project, right? And this is one simple empty activity, and in that hello world is there. So we are not going to do anything with this particular UI component. Let it is it right now. Just a minute. Okay, now today let's talk about something, how you can write the code for our application, right? So first of all, in this our main activity .java file, right? So this particular piece of code is already there, like public void on create, super on create, and set content view, right? So only this particular on create method is there compulsorily, right? Now to launch the activity, to set your content view, on create method is required, and we know the use of that on create method. So which activity you want to launch first when you run the application, right? So for that, on create method is there. Now yet we have only one activity, that is activity underscore main. So first of all, what we need to do, these particular methods are going to be called automatically, right? So by overriding each and every method which is available in the particular superclass. Now, if I want to see the working of each and every method, when this particular method is called, right? So for that, I have printed one message in a logcat, right? So this is the method for it. Here, instead of this, what you can do, you can also print a toast message, right? But this is another alternative way. So first of all, what you need to do, you need to import a log class. Okay, this is another important method whenever you do the debugging, right? So that's why I'm explaining this. This particular class is responsible to print the logcats, right? Now here, first of all, you can hover a mouse over here and it display a particular message, right? So what is the use of it? Two arguments you have to pass. First is the tag, another one is the message. So what is the use of tag? So it used to identify the source of log message, and it usually identifies the class or activity where the log call occurs. So this particular first argument you have to pass over here in the I method. Second, the message which you want to print, that you have to write over there, right? So two arguments you have to pass over here, right? So first is source, another one is the message. So this particular message is tag. So I need to define a tag. So that is my public static final string tag, because I'm not going to change this message anywhere. This will be common for all the particular method calls, right? So that's why I have defined this variable as a tag variable, and I have put it as a final. I hope you have studied in Java, right? So this particular message, every time I don't need to write. I just need to call this particular variable, okay, in each and every I method. And the second parameter I need to pass, that on create is called, on start is called, on resume is called, like that. Okay. So now the rest of the thing is very easy. So first of all, what you need to do, you need to write a log.i, okay, and tag into bracket. You need to pass a message that on create is called. Second, now I want to override the on start method. I want to see the working of on start when it is going to call, right? So it whenever your application starts, at that time on start method is going to call. So here log.i into bracket, again you need to pass the tag and this particular, you can say, message. Similarly on resume method, on pause method, on stop method, on destroy method, and on restart method, right? So we have already discussed the use of each and every method. So right now we are not going to discuss it again, right? But this way you can create the methods. This is one new method for us that is known as the on save instance state, right? So what's the use of this particular method? So it saved our instance. So when we come back to the application, all our data is saved and we could use it, right? So yesterday we talked about the application of YouTube. So in YouTube, whenever you minimize the application, then at the same time, that particular application stops at the moment, right? And whenever you come back to the YouTube, from that only the particular video or music is going to start. So that particular state is saved, right? So at that time, this particular method is going to call. Okay, it is not compulsory to write this, but for your understanding, I have just put this. Okay, but these are the particular methods we have discussed yesterday in activity lifecycle. These are the main 7 main methods of it, right? So now let's run this code and try to understand the output of each, right? So how it is going to, you can say, display the output when the particular methods are going to call, right? So first of all, I need to run this. So that particular application is going to run in my emulator. Okay, so my application is successfully installed, right? And it is in a working state. So right now I'm not touching it. I am keeping it as it is, right? Now I want to okay. Now I want to see the output of this particular application. So how I can see that? So first of all, I need to go to this particular logcat. Okay. So in a view from the menu, you can go to the view. From tool windows, you can select the logcat, right? So here in a logcat, you can see that this particular thing. Right now, as I told you that I just run the application. So these 3 particular methods are called by default. Okay, that is on create, on start, on resume. Okay, close this. Now you can see how these particular messages are displaying. First of all, whenever you initially see in a logcat, then this particular show only selected application is selected by default. So you are going to see like this, right? But to create your own filter, what you need to do, you just need to go over here, right? Edit the filter, right? Instead of my new filter, you just create a new filter, right? But what you need to remember over here, we are taking this particular logs based on the tags. So which tag we have created, so that is compulsorily you have to write as it is. So my message, right? Logcat tag, what is logcat tag? My message, right? So based on this, it will fetch the particular message, right? So I click OK. So you can see now instead of my new filter, I have my new filter. So I just need to select it. So now it will only show the particular logs. It will only show the particular logs. So right now, as I have not touched anything, it is by default called on create, on start, and on resume. Okay. Now let me minimize this application. So if you click a home button, right? So on pause and on stop method is called over here, and it also saved the instance, right? Why? Because my application is behind. My application is running in behind. Okay, so I'm not going to touch it. So again, when you come back to the application, then again it calls the start and on resume method. Okay, now instead of that, suppose if I'm going to close this back, right? So again on pause, on stop, and on destroy method is called, right? Because still that particular application is here in a background. But when I close that, right, then you can see there is nothing. I just close that. So on destroyed method is already called. So I just need to remove it from my background. That is my running applications. Okay. So this way, these particular methods are going to call. These particular methods are going to call, right? And to create this method, it is very easy, right? We are just going to create a protected void on start. You just need to write super dot on start. It's overriding, and you just need to call the log method. Are we clear with this, guys? Is there any doubt in this application? Anyone having any doubt in this
No, sir.
application? Right? So it is very simple program, and this can be asked into your examination also. Right. So as now onwards, you see that GTU has put the particular examination periods, right? Scheduled. So start preparing according to that. Okay. And try to understand each and every concept in a detail. Okay. So here, one another method is there, right? So suppose if you are not creating this, like suppose I'm just commenting this, right? I just go to the, so first of all, you just go to the code and override methods, right? In these override methods, you can go for on start, you can search on start, right? But it is not displaying anywhere. It is not displaying anywhere because I have already used it. So you can see that whenever I'm just putting a comment, okay. Now you can see now I have removed this on resume method, or whatever method you can say comment it, right? So I just want to show you the another way how you can create this override method. So from this, now go to the override methods and search for the on resume. right? So this is another way to create this particular on resume method. Any method you can create like this, and you can just put the message on resume is called like this. Okay, so automatically that particular method is going to call, right? So you don't need to write the bunch of lines by your own. So you just need to play around with these particular things little bit. So you will get comfortable with this particular how to create a methods and all that. So here you can see in a code window, there are lots of methods that are override methods, then implement methods, delegate methods, right? So turn by turn, whatever we are going to discuss, so that will be seen in this particular, you can say applications, right? According to, but right now we are dealing with the override method. So these many override methods are available for us. Okay, and you can see that here insert @override. So you just don't need to write the @override over here. You just need to tick mark this and it will be override that particular thing automatically, right? So here it is known as the particular, you can say documentation, right? Documentation tag for this particular overriding purpose. Okay, so this way this particular application lifecycle work, Android lifecycle works. Okay, so I hope there is no doubt in this particular application, right? So try to run this application by your own, right, at your home or in a laboratory session, and try to understand that how this particular thing works. Okay, now let's close this, and we'll see one another application so that you can also practice it out in your laboratory session. So one another application we are just going to talk about, that application. uh, let's talk about the toast message, right? Okay, so this is one another important application. Okay, so what is the meaning of toast message? So toast message is one kind of notification, right? It is a one kind of notification. Whenever I click on one button, and from that button, after clicking that button, I want to display that you click a button or your record is submitted. That kind of message I want to display. And after some delay, that particular message is gone automatically, right? Vanished automatically. So for that kind of facility, we are going to use a toast, right? So toast is a one class. So here you need to import it. Otherwise, you can just directly write the toast over here, and you just don't need to worry about the imports. That will be automatically imported if you are not going to import it, right? That's the beauty of Android Studio. Now, here you can see one application. So let me go here. I have just took one particular button, and that is click here. Okay, and when I click on this, so that particular message is displayed. So let me first of all execute, so you will get the idea how this particular application is working. So my Gradle is building my application. It is installing the application. Now application is launched successfully. Now whenever I click on a button, so you can see this is the toast message, right? Again, if I click, it will display, and after some time, it's gone. Again, I click display, and it's gone, right? So this particular toast message also you can use in our previous application lifecycle instead of log, right? So what you can do over here, so first of all, here we are dealing with the event handling. So you have to create the particular on-click event. There is one another way. And whenever you launch this particular application and that particular logic, if you want to provide within a particular on create method, so whenever your application is launched and at the same time you want to assign all the stuff, then you can write that logic in on create like this. So first of all, I don't know you have studied about the listener classes and all that stuff in Java or not, right? But let me explain what is the use of this particular listener classes, right? So first of all, what you need to do, you need to create the object of a button class. So here I have created object of button class. Then and then I can use the inbuilt methods of that particular class. So I just need to typecast it. It's compulsory. And after that, I'm finding that button with the use of ID. So here you can see, you can click on this button and you can see that the ID of my button is click button. So based on this, I am identifying, okay, this is the button that I need to work with. Okay. So now that instance is stored in my button object. Now I need to call set on click listener. So whenever you can see that this particular thing we are going to learn in a detail in the next unit, right? So here you can see that register a callback to be invoked when this view is clicked, right? So it makes the registry, it registers that particular callback method. Okay, whenever you click the button, if this view is not clickable, it becomes the clickable. So now your button is clickable button. So it has made the entry in his register internally that, okay, this button is going to click. And we are going to pass this particular view method on click listener, right? So what is this? Okay, so this particular syntax is known as the anonymous class. So I think you have studied in the particular Java that what is the meaning of anonymous class. Okay, so this way you can create the anonymous class. Here in that, we are going to call on click method because whenever the button is going to call, then on click method is called. We are passing a view. Okay. And now we are actually going to display a message using a toast. So there are two ways. So this is the first way, and this commented is another way. So first of all, let's talk about this. So here you can create the object of a toast class. So toast dot one make text method is there. One make text method is there. So in this, you have to pass three arguments, right? So you can see the context you have to pass, the character sequence text you have to pass, and duration you have to pass, right? So context means right now we are currently dealing with which activity. So right now my current context is main activity dot this. What message I want to display? So this is the toast message. Your record is submitted. You click a button. That kind of message I want to display. So that message is you have to provide here, right? And the second, third argument here, you can provide two values: toast.length long and toast underscore length short, right? So if you put a length short, then your message is quickly going away. But if you put length long, then for 1 second of delay, that particular message is displayed, right? And now we have stored all this in our object, so you just need to call a show message. Okay, another way is I want to write all the logic in a one sentence, in a one line. So what you can do, this is the easiest way. Toast dot make text, same arguments you have to pass, and at that end you just need to put dot show method. You just need to put dot show method, right? So now again, if I stop this and if I execute this application, right? So it will show this particular thing. So for differentiation, I have put a different message, right? So here you can see that this is another way of toasting. So again, if I click, this is another way of toasting, right? So this way you can put the particular notifications, you can display the messages, right, into your application. So this is a wonderful thing in Android application to display the messages for your activities, right? I hope all these things are clear to you guys. Okay, so in this session we have talked about the practical example of activity lifecycle of Android, right? And the particular second toast class. So how you can use a toast class to display a particular messages in Android, right? So is there any doubt up to this, anyone?